Alright, let's get straight to it, see if we can make this happen. My other channel, I build Jeeps, and one of the comments is always that somebody can't afford a welder. I completely understand. Like, I bought that one 10 years ago, probably longer. It was $2,500. They don't even make it no more. I think the last one they sold was like $5,500. So I completely understand that. And other day, Black Friday, I walked in there, honestly not even thinking about buying this, and then I seen it. $125 was this one. Their other one, regular price, is $119. I was like, that's about as cheap as you can get. I mean, that's like a freaking fill up of gas nowadays, or diesel. Anyways, so if you can tell, I'm not a welder. I don't have a welding channel. This is just a completely unbiased review. I paid with my money for this. I'm not sponsored by them. And I'm sure there's even cheaper on eBay, Amazon, if you want to do that route. And one thing I went through a lot of trouble, I know I don't look like it, is I can't stand when people do a welding review and they just shine the camera at it and you can't see nothing. All you can see is sparkles. So I've actually duct taped the GoPro. I know it sounds like an easy job, but anyways, I put brand new lens in there, make sure y'all can see as good as you can. And I have never welded with a flux core welder in my life. So if you was to go out and buy one, wondering if you could weld one, this will be about the honest reviews you can get. 110 plug-in, 120, whatever you want to say, single phase. I assume it comes with everything. Rated output 90 amps at 30% duty cycle. So that means in an hour's time you can, I believe it's hour's time, ain't it? You could weld 30% of that hour at 90 amps, which is on up there. Garbage. That's a weird looking tip. And if you see right there, I've got like some pieces of sheet metal to use for welding. Oh, it's tiny. Okay. What did you suspect? Oh. That's going to be the phrase for my channel. I want to do reviews on stuff like this, is how bad can it be? You bought the cheapest cheap out there. How bad could it be? Wow. Yeah, about 6 foot of handle. That's not great, but at least it's 110, so you don't have to drag. Like that one, I only have that one, 3 plug-ins in my shop. So you gotta be, unless you get an extension cord out, but wish it had a handle on the top. It's got like a thumb hole. Something tells me the one for 119 and this one, I would assume has the same internals. This one just looks fancier, but I don't know that. A bunch of numbers that probably mean something, but to the average person, they don't mean nothing. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. For $125, it didn't come with a roll of wire? What the heck? Come with a carrying strap. Well, shoot. See if it works first. Straight plug. I like the straight plug. Got quite a long cord, but it's not going to reach. Alright, I have not installed that. I mean, the ground feels pretty heavy duty, so maybe on and off switch is on the back. I was about to say it didn't work. It didn't. Come on. Wire speed and the volts instead of numbers are in A, B, C, D, E, F, G. H, I, J. Oh, I bet it's got to touch the ground before it Well, I don't know how you spool the cable up. Okay, it's working, it's working. We just don't have no wire. Who would have thought that? Alright, well tomorrow I'll get some wire and we'll do some welding. How bad can it be? it'll take me a while to get that set up. Alright, the next day I went to the town and picked up a 2-pound roll, which is, it didn't tell, I assume it's as big as this thing takes. 2 pounds of 30, smaller, cost me $29.36. Yeah, I suppose my tax number didn't work. But that's like, that's 32, okay? Yeah. 33-pound spool of the same stuff with no flux on it is, well, before, you know what happened, this was about $39. Now, probably around anywhere from $80 to $100, and you can pay more, but I think now I'm starting to realize that gas is the way to go. This is just cheap up front. So if you're not doing a lot of welding, this may, but 2 pounds, oh my gosh. All right, no turning back. So if you think of it like that, I'm 160, well, tax, about 175 into this right here, and I ain't made the first weld, so. But the initial cost, definitely a lot cheaper. So let's see what this looks like. 2 pounds. Wow. I don't even think I've ever even touched flux core wire in my life. So let's unscrew this. Got my strap put on last night. Alright, so it says to hold the wire in the picture, so I'm assuming when you take this off it's going to try to go flying. Thank you. For that kind of price, I assume they can put a sticker on there. There's that. That. It don't really look like flux on the outside. I guess it's just a really thin layer compared to like your stick welding. So don't let go of this. Don't let go of it. Feed it through there. Don't let go. Oh, that's good. Wait, what does that do? Oh, they knew this is a struggle. Okay. So that little thing made this fold back. Now we'll put that back. Anyways, put that on there. Doesn't have a number like mine does for size of wire, but for the most part, if it's not pushing through there, it gets hung. You just keep tightening this spring. But I don't know. So we're gonna leave that open. Cold wire feed. Oh, that's cool. Wait. Okay, so let's see. If that's right, that's got like an automatic feed. So you don't have to, on this one it's gasless, so I don't really know what the purpose is. But, all right. Turn it on, still plugged up. Sorry about the fan noise. That's pretty cool. When I do mine on my gas welder, you have to turn the gas off. You don't have to, I do. And then go turn the wire speed wide open. So $125. You can feel it. Shoot. Well, I should have known. Well, that's 30 wire. That's a 30 tip. I guess it just didn't want to go through there. Yep. Alright, well, it didn't bird's nest, but it didn't slip, so I'm going to back it off a little bit. They call it bird nesting when this can't push through and it just like swells up there. So take your tip off, note that. So it does work. Pull it back through there. Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. I have never welded flux core a day in my life. Oh, we gotta put this side on. Crap. Learn from me. electrocuted me. Turn off. It didn't electrocute me, but it 12 volt shocked me and kind of surprised me. I'll break me a little piece of welding wire off. Now, put this thing on first. Get it in there. Now the spring. I know somebody's like thinking I'm making it up. I promise it tingled me just a little bit. Alright, now we should be good. Get rid of the burnable stuff. Don't need instructions. Alright. Well, I've got the camera set up right here, but let me at least learn partially what I'm doing before I make a fool out of myself. This is way too thick. This is like 5/16. I just want to see what it does. The thickest it rates for is 3/16. So got our strap. We'll go to HGI. H and 8, yeah. So that's turned up pretty hot for 110. It's kind of at a weird angle. So I assume you hold it like 10 degrees like you would a regular stick welder. Never done this. Wow. That's a horrible looking weld. Golly. I need safety glasses. Alright, I know it's my first weld, but I don't even see weld, to be honest. So I may have to slow down, I guess. Alright, let me try to make more of like a full pass. And that's what I assume flux core means. It's the same as like a stick welder where you can weld dirty, but this is pretty much clean metal. Wow. Let me get a drill. Got a 1940 drill. I mean, it's getting better. It's just very porous. It's burning in. So I tell you what, let's actually turn it down, slow the wire speed down. I've seen the one beside it was the one I ladled my gun over, my welder over there. Why is it such a nasty weld? It's just very porous. Alright, if you're actually interested in this welder, watch to the end. I definitely changed my opinion on it very quickly, and I should have read the instructions. I got the phone call as soon as I went to read them, and yeah, like this picture and a whole lot more helps you get on your way. But anyways, back to it. Watch to the end. It changes up on you. Let's just turn it up and see what happens. I wonder if he's supposed to lay down like that. Turn it back to about where he was. Just kind of laying her down. That seems worse. Wow. That's a terrible looking weld. Let's try going forward with it laying down. everything feels great. It just looks terrible. I don't like the way that one looks at all. Let's try straight up and down. Feel like I'm gonna burn through the 2 pound before I even learn how to weld. Let me make a phone call.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice.
Dang. Let me read the instructions. How about that? Hello?
My intelligent device says I missed a phone call from you.
Oh, were you asleep already?
No.
Do you know anything about flux core wire welding?
I've been using it for a long time.
Mine looks like, what's it called? Peroxidation?
Porosity.
Porosity? What?
Most flux core wires, you still have to run a gas shield on.
Oh, okay. So I bought the cheapest one from Harbor Freight, and I was doing like a video on like the cheapest possible welder. Is that just what you're gonna get?
You've got porosity.
Yeah.
So the wire that we have at work is what's called a dual shield wire.
Yeah.
You have to run argon over it, which doesn't make a lot of sense. But there is a true flux core wire that you don't have to use a gas with that I've used before, and it's not worth your time or effort trying to learn how to run it.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I didn't even read. I just thought it was all the same. Well, it says no shielding gas required.
Okay. Well, I've used some of that, but it runs like shit. It's terrible.
So that's just the crappy weld you're gonna get for.
Yes, I don't know how you got the. I honestly couldn't tell you even how to set the machine up as far as the amperage and the wire speed.
Yeah.
Because every time that I've used that straight flux core, no gas, it's terrible.
Okay.
What are you trying to do?
Well, nothing. That's why I say, like, everybody always complains in a video they can't afford a welder. So I seen this one for $125 on Harbor Freight. And I was like, that's cheap for a welder. But I'm assuming your welds just ain't gonna look good.
Well, no, I'm not gonna say somebody can't make it look good. I'm just saying that our flux core is a dual shield. We've got to run gas with it, and it runs amazing. But I have run those dedicated flux core wires that they don't.
Well, I guess
Pretty much a joke.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was getting at. It laid beside my weld for my other ESOB looks amazing. But the only question I honestly have is, do you aim it like 10 degrees like a stick, or do you lay it down like...
There is no way I can answer that.
Okay. Well, like, my gun has like a 45 degree twist, and this one has like a 10 degree. So it's like virtually impossible to hold straight up and down.
What do you mean twist?
Like the angle in the MIG handle. Like the curve.
Yeah, I got you. I see what you're saying.
Alright, I don't know how much that phone call I added, but turns out flux core welding is junk. So, but what did you expect? I mean, or no, what's my quote? How bad could it be? Pretty bad. He said you still got to shield it to be good. So before I waste a bunch of time, let me try this. We'll turn this on. So we should get gas and no weld. God, this is going to be complicated. Wow. Oh, I got it turned on. Wow, that's pretty incredible. Holy crap. Is it a 10 out of 10? No. But compared to those, and the only thing I've done, not the top right, those are from my MIG gun. But that's the same welder on the same settings with just gas around it. That's wild. So that kind of sucks at this point of the video. I don't know what to tell you. I'm gonna keep practicing with it and see where I go. Got like a piece of thin gauge. Let's just see if it'll weld to it. Splatter everywhere. See if we can tack with it. Never tried to tack. Try running the bead right across that right there. I mean, I feel like it's gonna get the job done. It's just not gonna be a nice looking weld. And it may just be something you have to deal with. If you're using the cheapest welder out there, your welds probably ain't gonna look good at all. So this will be, see if I can get the big camera set up. All right, I don't know how this will work out. We're gonna see if we can lay a bead right across there, right there. Actually, we're gonna do half of it not shielded, half of it shielded. It puts the heat down. So now we're just going to change to shielded. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. That's pretty daggum hard to do. So on the left is the non-shielded, on the right is the shielded. If I wasn't holding two guns at the same time, I think I could be a lot smoother and that would look perfect, but holding two guns, moving at the same time, concentrate on the weld, somebody can do it, I'm not good at it. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of the gas because that defeats the whole purpose of the video. We're just here to do flux core welding. I still think, even as crappy as the weld looks, let's just try turning it way down. Way down. Let's see, that's 4/16 gauge. So let's just try a slow bead across some thin metal on a slower setting. There we go, there we go, there we go. So maybe this thing honestly doesn't need to be burning into hot material. So, get a grinder. not sponsored by D-Walk. Thinking this piece right here, I might have to cut it back off. It's painted. And I assume flux core stuff is supposed to do with paint, but I don't know that. So let's try it. Paint's burning. Let me go ahead and finish that weld out. That's not too bad. Alright, I was like bummed as crap about this thing. That actually looks really good. Let me do a couple more and then I'll show you. Let's see. This should be essentially, that's about 8th gauge to 8th gauge, and it's going to have a gap, so we'll see how it does as far as filling in gaps. Pack. Alright, you can see there's a gap. I'm going to see what it does on the gap. Almost filled it in. It's not as bad as I was expecting. I mean, you still essentially have the Jeep. That looks good. Wow, I thought you had to like stop and clean it and all that stuff. Let's see, what I got left? Let's try a round piece across this right here if you was welding a roll cage. Let's see, let's turn it up just a little bit. Here. Just gonna do a little tack here on the edge. I'm gonna do like a full swing weld across the whole cage here. I completely changed my mind about this welder. And you forget that's on 110. Wow, that looks amazing. Alright, I want to show you what I've got, and I don't want to keep wasting your time. I changed my mind. I admit, at first I was like, this is complete junk, but now I think I could build a full cage with the thing pretty good. So over here is like where we had our heat way too high. And like I said, this is thick metal, so I think that was, I thought you could just lay a bead and it would do like that right there, but like where are we at? This one was thick metal to paint and it was turned down. You can see it could have been a little hotter through there, which I said this is like 5/16, so completely not rated for that material. And again, here, those are two welds put together. I didn't mean to do that. This is gas covered, and this was non-gas. And again, I think it's because of this thick metal, because like right up here where I laid a bead, that's no gas, looks weld. Now, I can't use my pointy stick, but look at the pipe to, what is that, like 1/8 inch metal? That looks honestly great, in my opinion. Trying to think if they did any more. So right here, it's hard to tell. This is what the piece of metal looked like when I started. So if you can tell, there was a huge gap right there, and I just kept pulling trigger, and I didn't even clean the slag off, and it actually filled that gap in. I think that's the one I nearly filled in like a single pass, but yeah, that's I changed my mind. As far as that right there, that's impressive, and like I said, that's all I've ever welded with a flux core. It was just this thick metal throwing it off. So as long as you're below that, and I'm sure on like exhaust tubing or something like that, it would work phenomenal. It would obviously just take practice, but for what you got in it, I don't see nothing wrong with it. All right, so that's just a review. I'm trying to do a thumbnail, but like I said, for what I've got in this thing, and I think just depending on what you're using it for, but I mean, for $125, what did you expect? How bad can it be? Weighs only 15 pounds. So as long as you ain't doing commercial welding or nothing like that, like I said, I paid for this small money, and I'm honestly glad I did, because I've got that welder, but if something happens to it, and for some reason I only have like 110, or I need to run an extension cord and use a welder like that, I feel like this would do fine. So this will probably honestly start going on the trails with me, and worst case, I'm sure it'll run off a generator. It don't tell the amps, but I assume anything has to be with 15 amps or less. So. I'm excited. I'm gonna do a Jeep build on my other channel. So this will be the cheap welder I use. The flux core, that does suck paying that price, but there's no telling how many thousand. And I just found out today, my buddy bought that same welder, a used one, and now to get a bottle, you gotta pay $150 a year rent on a bottle. That's the big one. Small one, I'm figuring is probably gonna be $75 a year. That's whether you use it or not. So, if you're an amateur welder, I hope you learned something. Like I said, not sponsored. I'll put this up on the shelf, and I don't know if my next video will be learning TIG, but that's on my bucket list, and I think now, from this point forward, would just be experience. You can see how much I've tackled that quick. So just depends on application. Like I'm gonna be welding on a Jeep, so temperatures and all that. But yeah, go get you one. I'm sure the junky one for the black one, I guarantee it's the same thing, but I don't know that, so don't quote me to it. Just my opinion. Appreciate you watching. If you like, look at my channel and see, it's very random. So sure you won't love every video I put out. This one just something I had in mind. Until next time, I don't know. Have a good day.